So who is Haskell? We're based in Jacksonville, Florida, where it does not snow in May, but the hockey playoffs are definitely much better in Montreal. We're an integrated firm. That means we have engineering, execution. We work on things like leaseback, depending on the different circumstances and the customers. Our particular group, the one I represent, is from the industrial group. We support our customers globally in the sense of we try to make sure that we are partners in their business. We're not necessarily just on a service provider end. We're employee owned, and we focus on doing the right things the right way. So when it comes to the safety, quality, the things like that that matter to how you go about executing and working with people like Spirit, we focus on those. We have offices in Latin America, work North, South America. We've worked in as far away as Malaysia, as you'll see, and as nearby as Quebec City. So that was some years ago, and I was a little skinnier then. So starting from the planning all the way through to startup is essentially how you would describe where we fit in the execution when it comes to expanding, modifying their supply chains, their production. So we can do some of the conceptual designs right from several years prior to actually you making a step into that business, and you've got to do your capital and budgeting planning all the way through to the project management, the at-risk execution, equipment installation, and some of the procurement methodologies. So for us, this is, in a sense, what the integration means. We become responsible as your partners to take care of various aspects of putting something together. It can range from, you might be sourcing this piece and these pieces from a long-term supplier, but you need someone to help you organize, coordinate those things, and then ultimately, if I get this pointer correctly, make sure that this facility or this concept or this layout is focused on how it turns your business productivity into something meaningful for you and your customers. So we've worked with various people in the aviation industry before. Some of you are here. Safran, I've worked with our Turbomeca affiliates before. I've had the pleasure of visiting Messier Doty here in Montreal. GE, Flight Safety, CAE, some of these folks, and that's how we ended up getting on board. So now we're to the meat of the presentation. So great, now you understand who we are. Why does this matter? Well, when you're looking, you've all been through these questions when you start out lining out your projects. What are your business objectives? What are you going to do to increase, consolidate capacity? What are you going to do to reduce your production cost without sacrificing your quality? The increase in flexibility of your manufacturing, increasing the quality of your goods that you're delivering to your own suppliers, and then guaranteeing products. So these things are used to analyze forwards and then also down the scale. So then you have to make real decisions based on, are we going to outsource this particular piece? Are we going to self-perform, manufacture it? So with Spirit Aerosystems' case, the solutions that came about tended to be expanding manufacturing instead of necessarily going out and subcontracting some of those pieces. And you'll see as we come up with the solutions, that involves sometimes consolidating or relocating. So from a planning perspective, that's where we start off with their team to get involved into, and we turn this into an actual project. So as you go in the project, these are the same things I'm sure all of you have dealt with, but they're actually, as you know, with the complexity of these, you're going to coordinate potentially hundreds of people in your HR systems and your training programs, and making sure if you're going to modify something or going to bring something new online, how do you ensure that 2-3 years after you've made your investment, you're actually hitting your production rates and your quality rates? Those are all important considerations: logistics, the staffing. You get into the technology selection, the OEMs. Obviously, that's something that we feel more comfortable with. And talking about your production rates, that would be something more that a Spirit Aerosystems would be focused on. You get into site selection. Where are you going to go for these things? Are you going to expand, modify? Are you going to move to the States? Are you going to be in Mexico? Those are the kind of programs and projects that we work on. Then your team makeup and the dynamics and the personalities of the members. Who's going to take care of a lot of these different issues? And then integrating that business back into your existing business. So hopefully a lot of you may already have been through some of these experiences. For those of you that haven't, it could be quite painful, and that's why you go and get partners like us so that we can all go watch the hockey game together and complain about our day. So this is sort of a simplified version of a matrix. on how you go about trying to execute something that's global, that's involving hundreds of millions of dollars of investment, and that essentially involves both organizations trying to divide and conquer so that we're able to go ahead and at the end of the day have a success story to recount, which is why we're here. So you can see in certain areas in technology, we assisted Spirit. When we were over in Malaysia, that was an unusual environment. It's a little more difficult to source some of the equipment, the vendors, and some of the pieces you need. So we were able to participate in finding the right local resources, and I'm talking local like Southeast Asia or potentially from Europe when they're specialty suppliers and equipment, and integrating that into the system so that Spirit can focus on, hey, we've got to get up here and we've got to make this product work. When we relocate it, we've got to make sure this functions properly. That's where we sort of had a division of responsibilities.